Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Hooray for Hollywood, the old song goes. Used to be Hollywood was viewed as a nigh unto mythological place of magic at the end of the rainbow that came to ground in the American West, itself a fabled place of cowboys, Indians, gold prospectors, and limitless opportunity. Sure, Hollywood has always been shallow, surface, mostly glitz and little gold, but the average moviegoer could still sift through all the garbage on any given day and still find a nugget or two of genuine treasure. That's the way it's always been in Hollywood. A whole lot of average to poor crap, and one or two movies of pure genius in each batch. Back then, you'd sift through a dozen B pictures and stumble across The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, or Sunset Boulevard, Casablanca, The Wizard of Oz. Sometimes you had to suffer through a lot of disappointment to find those gold nuggets, but nevertheless, Hollywood was a very rich mine, and no one had to wait too long before finding something incredible. That's how Hollywood kept going for so long, the amazing highs that made up for the mostly mehs and lows. The key here, folks, is the highs had to be very high indeed. Greatness is an essential element in preserving this cycle of movie-going, and that is where Hollywood has stumbled. And that is why we're seeing articles like the one Variety recently published titled Super Burnout. With most superhero movies flopping, can Marvel and DC's 2025 slates reverse an unprecedented box office drought? Lately, Hollywood is finding itself unable to release truly great projects anymore. At this point, the highs are generally, with a few exceptions, lowered to the level of okay. And that's not enough to sustain the cycle of movie-going, folks. Huge hits are needed in these short attention span times more than ever to get people off their asses, get them into their cars, get them into theaters. That's just not happening with the same frequency that it did in the classic Hollywood days. Ask yourself, how many films that you would genuinely call great pieces of cinema have been released in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years? Things that can compare to Raiders of the Lost Ark, Chinatown, Lawrence of Arabia, Network. Movies that changed your life and made you see the world differently. I ask myself that, and the answer is appallingly clear. Nothing really comes to mind. And without those highs, the lows rule Hollywood, and these days who's going to bother driving to a theater, forking over money, just to yawn at the end at best, or storm out in disgust at worst? I think the situation pertains to all Hollywood releases these days, but it's blatantly apparent in the once lucrative superhero genre.
Superheroes were custom made for blockbusters, Doomcock. The stuff that dreams are made of. Fantastic visuals, over-the-top heroics, grand operatic storylines. This was a rich gold mine, maybe the richest. But now it's looking like it's all tapped out.
They may have extracted too much too fast, Harvey Cthulhu, and they started trying to pass off fool's gold on the customers, as Variety describes so aptly in this article. Quote, Sony Pictures billed Venom: The Last Dance as the final chapter in Tom Hardy's alien symbiote buddy comedy franchise. But with its $51 million domestic opening weekend, 44% and 55% lower than the previous two installments, the movie also signifies the continued twilight of superhero cinema as the dominant force at the box office. Superhero movies used to be an indispensable revenue driver for the film industry. In 2018 and 2019, the average global gross for superhero fare was more than $1 billion. This year, it's half that, even with the record-breaking success of Deadpool and Wolverine. In fact, the Ryan Reynolds Hugh Jackman vehicle is the only comic book movie that could qualify as a hit since Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse debuted in June of 2023. Since then, the genre has suffered an extraordinary box office drought. Film after film, from The Flash to The Marvels to Madam Web, open to, at best, a shrug, and at worst, outright rejection. Joker Folie à Deux is on track to earn the ignominious distinction of making less in its entire box office run than its predecessor's $248.4 million global opening weekend in 2019. Between 2015 and 2019, 25 out of 30 superhero titles, 83%, took in more $500 million worldwide, some considerably so. After the pandemic, that dynamic has been flipped on its head. Since 2022, 10 of 17 superhero titles, 59%, have made less than $500 million globally, some considerably so, unquote. Variety then goes on to hypothesize a number of reasons for this faltering box office. DC movies were rocked by scandals and the knowledge that a new creative team was taking over, as if that matters to the average normie moviegoer. Marvel had watered everything down by flooding superhero stuff on Disney+, but Variety here, like much of Hollywood, is missing the real point.
Most movies suck. They just suck. A lot of them don't have final scripts. They patch them together in post after endless reshoots. No one has any artistic vision. They don't have a lot of talent. They just throw money into special effects and more reshoots, and it all sucks.
And there you have it, my friends. The lesson that Hollywood seems to have forgotten. If it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. The idea of burnout is a myth. If you make a great movie, people will come. But the thing people are burned out on? Mediocrity. Crappy movies. Lousy movies. Shitty movies. Bland garbage assembled by ideologues inserting political messaging rather than exceptional characters and excellent scripts. Wonder why you're failing, Hollywood? We've all got plenty of suck in our lives these days. We don't need to pay you to give us more. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.